Alright, so I wanted to do something a little bit different for this video. I want to talk about the aesthetics of English and aesthetics more broadly. So I'm just going to ramble about this for a while and see where we go. So, what are aesthetics? In English, this would be the look and feel of something. Maybe there's a better single word for aesthetics. But yeah, it's the look and feel of things. And I would say how they make you feel or how they make you think about something. Generally, it's the appearance of things. And yeah, so when it comes to language, language also has aesthetics. It does have a look and feel. There is a way that it feels to say certain words, the way they roll off your tongue. And there's the way the words make you feel. And different languages have different patterns in common within themselves. That's what makes them a category, and they get the title of being their own language. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm on the spectrum of autism, or if it's because I'm a Virgo, and I like everything to be perfect. But to me, I like things to match, and to me it's weird that modern English has words in it that don't match each other. Like, I don't think it would be that odd if we had an occasional borrowed word, like if 5% of English was borrowed words for things that were not native to English people. For example, like sushi is a Japanese dish, so it makes sense to borrow the Japanese word for that dish. Yeah, but that's not most of the borrowings in English. Most of them are borrowed from Romance languages for political reasons, not very good reasons in my opinion, and they look and feel different than the native English words. And to me, it's not good to mix two different things that feel completely different. And a lot of people will disagree with me. If you go anywhere online, anything related to English, there's always like one or two commenters that talk about how beautiful English is, and they only like it because it's borrowed all these words. And I just disagree. I don't think it's beautiful to mix and match things that don't go together. So I'm trying to think of an example, and the first thing that comes to mind is food. So let's say you're going to have a big feast, and you want people to bring food for this feast. So you tell them the theme of the feast is Mexican food. And so you would expect people to show up with Mexican dishes and Mexican style things. So like enchiladas, tacos, tortillas, lime, cilantro, salsas, avocados, that sort of stuff. But if somebody showed up to the feast with burgers and fries, that wouldn't match what the theme was. You wouldn't want somebody to show up with sushi and noodles, because that's not Mexican food. Now, that's not to say that burgers and fries are not good food. They're very good. It's not to say that sushi and noodles are bad. They're good in their own way. But they're clashing flavors, and they wouldn't fit in with a Mexican-style feast. And to me, it's the same with words. If you have all these different words from different backgrounds, to me it seems weird that we would be putting these things together, using them in the same language. It doesn't make sense to me. It's flavors of words that don't match together. Now you might say, who cares? Why does it matter if the words don't match? Well, I think aesthetics do matter. The look and feel of things do matter, because our experiences matter. You're experiencing the world through your senses, and if you're experiencing something pleasant or pretty or having symmetry or in any other way positive, that's good for your experience as a human. You're experiencing positive, good things. And if something is mismatching and chaotic and doesn't make sense together, to me, that's unpleasant. And this could be applied to many different things besides language. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of things about the modern world that are not very pleasant experientially. For example, plastic. It seems like everything is made out of plastic these days. Going beyond things that need to be made out of plastic. Like, I understand there's car parts and computer parts where something has to be made out of plastic for its plastic properties. Like, you need rubber gaskets to seal things. You need plastic casing on wires to protect the electrical currents. But not everything has to be made out of plastic. It seems like, I don't know if it's big plastic making companies have taken over the world, but it seems like 99% of the things that are made out of plastic could be made out of wood, aluminum, bamboo, paper mache, metal. There's so many other materials that I think are more pleasant to interact with than plastic. And yeah, so that's why I made up the English word shapeshit for plastic. It's something that can be shaped pretty easily, and it's kind of shit to interact with, so I call it shapeshit. But I see so many things that are made out of plastic that I just have to ask myself, why? Why does this thing need to be plastic? Like key fobs in cars. There's no reason that it has to be made out of plastic. Like, it used to be that all keys were just metal, like it was just a brass key. And brass keys are fun to use. Like, you slip them into the door and turn them, and there's a mechanical click and tactile feedback that you get from using the key. It's a very pleasant experience, and your keys on your key ring can jangle and make pleasant sounds, and it's fun to flip through them. But then, like, key fobs for all modern cars now are plastic with buttons and require batteries. And that seems to be way more complicated and a worse experience. Like, at the very least, if you have to have a key fob at all, which I don't enjoy, it's big, it's hard to fit that big plastic thing in your pocket. But if you have to have one at all, why not make it out of precious metal or something, like gold or silver, or even if it's not precious metal, just aluminum or something, anything but plastic. Like, if you buy a brand new car in the US, it's going to cost you $20,000, $30,000, and you're going to get a little piece of plastic to start the car. To me, that seems absurd, and it's ugly and it's weird. But yeah, there's so many things. Like, I've even seen people wearing, like, if you see anybody working in a blue collar field, a lot of times they'll have wedding rings that are made out of rubber. And I get it. It's like you're doing some kind of dangerous labor where you don't want your fingers to be caught in a machine or stuck in a chainsaw or something. So I understand there's a safety reason why you're choosing not to wear a metal band. But there's other safe materials besides rubber or plastic. You could very easily make a wooden ring and wear that instead. And if it got caught in a machine, it would just snap and break off and you could replace it. But yeah, there's no reason to make it out of plastic or rubber. It seems like a very nasty material to me. Or firearms. I've never really understood, like, the Glock people who like Glocks over 1911s. To me, it doesn't matter how strong the plastic is, it's still a plastic gun. And people argue that it's because it's lightweight, I guess, and that it's cheap. It's cheap to manufacture, but that's, like, the gun itself still isn't cheap. You're gonna drop $400 or $500 for a Glock, and it's a plastic gun. So yeah, I don't know. I don't see much money savings there. You could very easily make it out of aluminum. It would be almost as light, if not just as light. And it would be stronger, and it would look cool, and it would feel better to interact with. But yeah, I don't get it. Like, the few ounces that you're saving on the weight of your gun by making it out of plastic is not worth it. Like, I feel like you would have more peace of mind and lower cortisol levels just from carrying a weapon that was made out of steel. Like, weapons are supposed to be made out of steel. They're not supposed to be made out of flimsy, shapeable materials. They're not supposed to be made out of shapeshit. So it irks me. What else is made out of plastic? Yeah, I mean, armor, like knights in shining metal armor used to look cool. And modern armor is like, it's like a fiberglass and plastic shoved into made into a brick that you wear in a plate carrier. You can't even see the armor, so it looks kind of dumb. And yeah, is it really better than I don't know, hardened steel or titanium? Like, why can't you just wear titanium knight armor to deflect bullets? And then there's dishes and tableware, like silverware. They make plates and cups out of plastic that you can buy at Walmart or any other store, and it's like a few dollars for this plastic shit to eat off of. And it's probably not even healthy to eat off of. And like, if you spent 50 cents more, you could get something made out of glass or ceramic, which is safe to eat off of and is a much better experience. Like, I think the interaction with physical materials is important for human beings, and you should really consider like the materials that you are interacting with. People talk about the microplastics getting in our food and disrupting our hormones, but they don't talk about the mental and spiritual consequences of having to interact with a soulless material like plastic. Like, if your only complaint is, oh, well, if I heat up food on a plastic plate, it's going to get in my food, then the answer is just use a higher quality plastic, use the correct kind of plastic that doesn't transfer particles under that temperature or whatever. But I mean, that's not to me, it doesn't matter like if the plastic works or not. Clearly, you can make plastics that do their job really well, but it's still demeaning to interact with them. Like, a cup should be made out of glass. A plate should be made out of glass or ceramic. Eating utensils should not be made out of plastic. They should be made out of metal. It's called silverware, after all. It should be made out of silver. And if it has to be disposable, if something has to be disposable, like a plate or tableware, you can make it out of wood and paper. Like, chopsticks are a thing. You can make a bamboo fork. Just make a disposable wooden fork and eat off a paper plate. Like, I don't understand how it's even legal for so much stuff to be made out of plastic. And tools, even like modern tools. Like, if you go to the hardware store and you want to buy tools to work on a project, everything is brightly colored plastic. Isn't that kind of insulting? Like, your tools look like child's playthings. They look like Tonka truck toys. If you go back even like 50 years, tools were not made out of plastic. Like, a power drill, an electric drill, had a metal housing, some kind of cheap cast metal, like I don't know, aluminum or zinc or something, but it was still made out of metal, not plastic. And things were built to last, and now it seems like everything is built to be disposable. Like, everything is temporary. All of our tools, all of our toys, all of our gadgets, all of our household items, they're made out of trash, is what it seems like. They're made out of rubbish that's been recycled from previous rubbish into a new rubbish item that will probably break very quickly and fall apart. And even if it doesn't break, it's going to break your soul having to interact with it. Like, a modern vacuum cleaner is like 99% plastic with some with some copper coils around the motor to make it spin. Like that's the only metal in it. But my grandmother's vacuum cleaner was all metal. Like it was like a Hoover. It weighed like 20 pounds. Like you had to actually burn some calories to to clean the carpet. And they don't make them like that anymore. And you could say like, oh, you're being a hipster by even caring about this, or maybe it's a millennial trait to even to be a hipster, I guess. But the hipsters are right about some stuff. Like I think these things do matter, and there's an unmeasured cost to your mental state having to interact with shitty materials. People talk about things like noise pollution or light pollution. Like big cities put off so much light that it blocks out the stars. And people recognize there's an aesthetic cost to that. Like there's an experiential cost to living in a big city where the sky is blotted out by light pollution. And same with noise pollution. Like if you live in a house near a major highway, they put up concrete walls to block the sound of the highway because they recognize that noise pollution is a thing and it does matter. And your experience of living next to a highway and constantly hearing as big trucks fly by, that's obnoxious, and nobody wants to live like that. But it seems like for all other areas of our life, we just accept like, oh, everything could be made out of plastic and be disgusting and not match. Like, yeah, I don't get it. Why is there a double standard here with certain experiences, like where you live and your personal life and your household items? And to me, caring about the materials is like the very bare minimum of caring about your aesthetics around you and your experience of the things you interact with. Like another one people bring up a lot is architecture. You know, the stereotypical, like all the buildings now are just like glass towers with straight edges, and they're boring to look at, blah blah blah. And the old buildings had all these cool designs in them, like gargoyles and arches, and they're just much more pleasant to look at. But that's even just looking at like big buildings in a city. Like people's houses now have gotten, they become more and more plain, I think. Like no longer is it standard to have like ornate like doors and trim and like crown molding and shoe molding and like cabinets with ornate handles and such like that in the kitchen. Now everything's like plain straight edges. You have just sharp straight edges, plain colors. Everything is more and more simple. And it's a way to, I think it's a way to just cut costs, like make things cheaper. So there's that aspect, but I don't think it's only that, because like if you have a door handle that's cast out of cheap metal and it's just like a straight lever versus being in an ornate shape that's has ridges and valleys and flourishes and such, it doesn't cost any more metal to make it into a beautiful shape versus making it into an ugly shape. So yeah, I don't it's not only the cost. I think it's just people's taste is changing, or they just aren't offered what they want. Like there's things could look nice or things could not look nice, and for some reason people just choose for things not to look nice. Anyway, when it comes to things being aesthetically pleasing, I think a big part of that is having symmetry, having repeating patterns, having things match and look like each other, sound like each other. And so to me, that's another part of the problem with modern English. Is it's just like modern architecture or modern tools, appliances, things that we interact with on a daily basis. Like across the board, the modern world is a hodgepodge of ugly things that don't match. And projects like Anglish, I think, are in one way correcting that, by making everything match and keeping words that have similarities together instead of words that are completely different and have a different feel. And it's not only English that does that. There's linguistic purism movements in probably half of the countries. Like it's a common part of nations to have like a national language body. China does it, France does it, Germany does it. It's I think it's only the Anglosphere that's completely hands off. Of course, it's not completely hands off because there's private people that make dictionaries and make things official. Webster's dictionary, the Oxford English Dictionary. Like, it's not completely hands off. It's just like privatized and unofficial. And you could say like, the aesthetics of language don't matter for the everyday person. The aesthetics of their environment don't matter for the everyday person. All they care about is having a roof over their head and having food in their belly. But if that's the case, I mean, that would be the case with everything, not just language or the materials people interact with. That would also be the case with their food. So why would we outlaw like poisonous foods? Why would we require laws that put the ingredients on labels so that people can be informed about what they're consuming? And if something's really unhealthy for the population, most people are in favor of like banning it or regulating it in some way. But for some reason, this logic doesn't carry over to other experiences besides health and nutrition. Like, why would you not apply the same logic to language and all the things that we interact with in the physical world? Like, you should want to have a good experience with that and be doing things that are healthy to you, healthy for your soul. Like, I don't know if anybody's like, what's a good example? I guess this would be a bad example for anybody too young to have driven a stick shift, but the experience of driving a manual transmission car is a lot more fun than driving an automatic car. And yeah, there's practical reasons for, in many situations, preferring an automatic transmission over a manual transmission. But those situations are not daily use and the overall experience. I mean, almost anybody who's driven a stick shift would admit that it's more fun. And the downsides that they're going to come up with are, I can't talk on the phone while I'm driving. I can't text while I'm driving. I can't eat a taco while I'm driving. Yeah, but you don't need to be doing that stuff anyway. You should be enjoying the experience of driving. So, I mean, a manual transmission would be superior in that way. And I don't have a manual transmission right now, so I am a bit of a hypocrite. And yes, sometimes I do eat with plastic forks. Yes, sometimes I do drink out of plastic cups. I'm not perfect, but what I'm lamenting is the fact that I even have the option to do so. Like, why is it legal for somebody to be making plastic forks and putting them everywhere and making it so convenient to eat with them? There's no reason to have that convenience. If it wasn't there, I would just be forced to go do more dishes and wash my own forks and wash a plate to eat off of, which would just make fasting easier because you don't want to do dishes. The other aesthetic thing I wanted to complain about was phones. So I'm probably going to sound like a boomer here, but why does everybody have to have a smartphone with them at all times to do everything? Like, why, if I join a new gym, they want me to download their app? And I signed up at a gym once under the conditions that I didn't have to download the app. And I was like, oh, you want me to download your app to get in the door and to even have a thing here? And they're like, oh, no, you don't have to have the app. We just recommend that you do. Like, we'll just go with your telephone number. That's fine. Don't worry. Go ahead and sign up. And so I sign up at the gym. And then every time I go there for the next 6 months, they're pressuring me to get the app. They're like, why don't you just tap your way in? Like, why do I have to check you in with your phone number every time? And they get annoyed and just like harass me about it. And eventually I got so fed up with it, I just quit the gym. Like, okay, I'm not doing this. I'm canceling my membership and going somewhere else. Because I don't want to carry a phone on me at all times to do everything. I think it's absurd. Like, China's good at it. Like, people in China use their phones to pay for stuff. They carry their phones everywhere and do everything on their phone. And to me, that's kind of a nightmarish dystopian situation. Why should anybody be required to have a phone to get through life? That's absolutely crazy to me. You can't sign up for accounts for anything anymore without verifying a phone number, like YouTube or Twitter or whatever. And yeah, the whole paying with your phone to me is also pretty crazy. I don't even like the idea of paying with credit cards. Like, we should really be doing all payments with coins. Like, we should be carrying around coin purses, and we should be flipping big coins to the bartender like Han Solo does in Star Wars. Like, even Star Wars, a sci-fi universe, they still realize that paying with coins is cooler than swiping a credit card or tapping your wristband on a on a cash register. Like, that whole experience is just awful. Like, it makes you feel like a subhuman slave to have something strapped on your arm to make your payments with. And I don't understand why people are okay with it. Like, I don't really even like paper money very much. Like, if you can pay with cash, to me that's a superior experience to paying with a credit card or paying with your phone. But, like, why are we even using paper money? Like, coins are way cooler. Just carry a coin purse and have denominations of different metals in there to trade for things. That seems like a much more pleasant experience, and you get to hear the coins jingling. The whole thing is a better experience. Cashiers have to learn how to do math so that they can give you your change back. And yeah, I mean, you could say all that is wasteful, but like, what else are we supposed to be doing? Like, we're here on this planet interacting with each other. I think we're supposed to be having a good experience. I don't think we should be here like trying to make everything as efficient as possible. It's okay to have something be inefficient. There's no reason to have maximum efficiency if you're doing nothing with it. So I think it's more important what experience we're having than how efficient it is. And I understand there's physical constraints. Like, we do have to produce enough food and shelter for everybody to survive. Like, there is a minimum amount of work that has to be done, and you want that work to be done somewhat efficiently. But we're so far beyond that. Things are so efficient now. We have tractors that are like 60 feet long that plow fields and spread seed and water the crops. And we have flying machines that can efficiently take us from one side of the world to the other in hours. So I don't think we need to be so efficient with our day-to-day economic activity that we're required to pay by tap with our phones or hand chips or whatever, instead of just paying with coins. I think we should go back to having coin cash registers and paying with precious metals and tossing people coins. I think that would be a lot more fun. Again, I don't know if it's brainwashing or if it's normal for people just to drift towards being okay with things being uglier. I don't know what's the cause of it, but it used to be that the people of Walmart was a meme. It was a website. It was a website dedicated to making fun of the people of Walmart and their low standards of appearance. Part of it was like just making fun of fat people. Like, they don't care. I guess they're not all of them are very healthy, but then also just the way they dress. Like, they would come in like sweatpants and flip-flops and hoodies. Like, the people of Walmart was a meme making fun of the low standards of the people of Walmart. But I feel like the people of Walmart is just 10 years ahead of the people of everywhere else. Like the standards of dress, for example, and just physical appearance have gone down everywhere, not just in Walmart, but like, yeah, it used to be, I mean, there used to be more restaurants with dress codes. It was commonplace that you would be expected to dress well in church, for example, if you went to church. And now at these mega churches, people are just wearing like jeans and tank tops and having no standards of dress at all. Like they look like the people of Walmart from 10 years ago. And yeah, it's like everybody's drifting down in their expectations for their aesthetic experiences on every plane, not just clothing, not just health wise, like your body's appearance, but yeah, on every plane, it's drifting towards people not caring or not having the means to care or having an alternative to experiencing ugliness. The same could be said in so many different fields, like cars, for example. Old cars used to look cool and be made out of cool materials. I think there's a correlation there. Like making something out of a cool material has a higher chance of ending up in a cool final product than something that's made out of crappy materials. Like you look at the old Mustangs, like a 66 Mustang, it had cool lines. It had solid glass headlights, which are the eyes of the vehicle. So that's like the window into the soul of the vehicle. And they're like the solid glass. It doesn't fog over the same way that like plastic headlights do. Any modern car that you buy, 5 years after you buy it, the headlights get this like weird foggy glaze to them that plastic does in the sun. And it looks terrible. And they're not pleasant to look at. And then the regulations made it so that you can't have these sharp, cool looking lines on vehicles anymore because it's not safe. Like the safety regulations have made all cars look the same. They're just like a bubble. And sports cars or regular sedans, they both look the same. Like a modern Mustang or a modern Camaro looks the same as like a Nissan sedan. They're big they're too big. They're bubbly shaped and they don't have the sharp edges anymore. And I guess you could argue that, well, the experience of not being cut in half when you're in a car wreck is superior to the experience of driving a cool car. But I don't know. I think it's worth questioning. Like maybe it's okay to have people cut in half sometimes if our cars don't look like shit, if they're not made out of plastic and look like Tonka plastic Flintstones cars that you run in with your feet. Modern cars are ugly, and trucks too. Like the early '90s Toyota pickup trucks. I think they're called hard bodies. Toyota hard body, or maybe that's the Nissan hard body. I'm not sure, but the whole truck was made out of metal, and it was like a small footprint, handy pickup truck that wasn't too expensive. It wasn't too bulky. It wasn't hard to get around in, but you could throw a couch in the back and move your stuff, put lumber in the back if you need to. It was handy, but it still looked cool. And I guess it's the regulations that made the trucks bigger. And I don't know if there's regulations that make them be made out of plastic, but they have like plastic fenders on them and like plastic bumpers. And the mixing of the metal materials with the plastic materials, to me, it's just gross. Like I can't even enjoy owning a vehicle. So yeah, I mean, I'm not a car guy, but I feel like a lot of the reason I'm not a car guy is because they suck now. Like if I were a boomer and grew up in the 60s, I would probably be a car guy because they had cool cars back then. But yeah, now we don't. Another thing that I think is not very cool, and it's not a pleasant aesthetic experience, is to have everything be the same everywhere. So to me, it makes sense to have local cultures, not just with language, but with other things as well. Like for food, for example, if you go to a small town and you want to experience the local culture of that town, you would want them to have their own accent, their own dialect of the language. You would expect them to have their own way of dressing. You want them to have their own kinds of food, their own restaurants. But if you go to a small town anywhere in the United States, it's going to be the same everywhere. There's going to be a McDonald's. There's going to be a Starbucks. There's going to be all the big fast food chains. And to me, that seems kind of ridiculous why people allow that to happen. Like, I understand it's convenient to have a burger be the same in one location as another location. So from the traveler's perspective, from the wayfarer's perspective, from his point of view, his outlook, you want to have things be the same. Like if you're going on a road trip, it's convenient to have a burger in one state and to get the same burger in another state. So I understand the benefit from the consumer's perspective, but from the perspective of the local people in that town, why would they put up with this? Like, why doesn't a town have a special tax for big chains? It's like the big chain tax. And if a Starbucks wants to come into your town, or a McDonald's wants to come into your town, they should have to pay the big chain tax, because when they come to your town, they're replacing your local coffee shop, they're replacing your local burger shop. So I think the local people need to be compensated when that happens. Like, in order for Starbucks to do that, they need to be writing out a check every year to every citizen of that small town. Like, you should get a Christmas bonus from Starbucks for allowing them to operate in your town and kick out the other local coffee shops that they outperform. So yeah, it seems kind of crazy that it's allowed to happen. But on the other hand, it's also unpleasant for the consumer in that you can't experience anything unique when you go anywhere if everything is the same. Like, I like English a lot, and I like how the words match, and it's a coherent aesthetic language. But I wouldn't want English to be like the world dominant language that wipes out all of the other languages, and literally nobody could speak French or Latin without being beheaded. I think that's a bit absurd. I think it makes more sense to have like every local culture have their own language or their own dialects for their own reasons that resonate with the local people. And English should be like one among many of those. Like there's another cool language project called Anglais. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it's like it's modern English with all of the Anglo-Saxon vocabulary removed, so it's only the Romance words. And I think that's an equally cool project, even though I haven't gotten into it, and it's a much smaller community than the English community. But I like the idea of having a coherent like language where all the words match, and have a community of people that resonate with that. So yeah, it would be cool if you went to like, I don't know, the previously Roman occupied parts of Britain, like London, I guess, and they spoke Anglais there. But then you go to like a formerly Anglo-Saxon occupied region, and they spoke English there. I think the diversity would be kind of cool to have unique things in different places instead of have everything be the same everywhere. So now even if you go to Ireland, they don't speak Irish anymore. They all speak English, and not even the cool kind like English. They speak modern English, which is the worst of all worlds. Anyway, yeah, I'm not complaining at you, the listener. I just needed to vent and get some of this off my chest. Yeah, I have a lot of negative feelings about the world, and to me, my negative feelings are fuel for doing things. So part of the reason I'm even putting any effort into English at all is because I have negative feelings towards modern English. So I think in order to have motivation to do something, you need to have a problem to solve to begin with. There's the old saying, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But everything is broken. There's so much fixing to be done. And you can poo-poo all this as utopian thinking and like this is pie in the sky impossible stuff I'm talking about. But it's not. Like nothing I'm talking about in any way defies the laws of physics, and almost everything I'm talking about is something that we have historical examples of being the case in the past. Like people used to drive cool cars that were made out of metal and glass. They were made out of cool materials. They were a cool shape. That really happened, and we still have the relics of them around today. Like the boomers are still driving around in their cool cars that are worth even more now than when they were first built. So there's historical examples of it being possible. Like archaeologists have found all around the world, people used to pay with coins. They paid with precious metals that were stamped into coins. They carried their coins around in little leather satchels. Everything was fine. Yeah, plastic is fairly new. We used to have everything be made out of not plastic, and now we've 180'd and everything is made out of plastic. And to me, like the existence of plastic is that's not what bothers me. And like, sure, if something has to be made out of plastic, like a gasket in a car engine or whatever has to be rubber, that's fine. Like that's not the issue I'm complaining about. I'm complaining about 99% of the physical objects that we are forced to interact with on a day-to-day basis are plastic. Like why are all of our drinking bottles plastic? Why does milk come in a plastic jug? Like a glass bottle. We used to deliver milk in glass bottles fresh from the cow every day. That was fine. That was a good system. It worked. Glass works perfectly fine. Better even, because glass is way easier to recycle than plastic. Glass waste. All they do is just smash the bottles and then grind up the little glass bits into new glass sand and then melt it again. And it's like 99% recycled. Whereas plastic is really hard to recycle. They do the same process, but like half of it burns up and it's very wasteful. Like you can't really recycle plastic the same way you can with glass. So it's not good. Now, I think there's the tendency with a lot of people to immediately blame everything I'm complaining about on capitalism, or I guess wealthishness, if you were to say it in English. And I think I understand why people would jump to that conclusion right away. But in order for capitalism to work like that, people also have to buy it. Like, I think there's a problem with most people where they actually don't care, or like they can't even perceive the difference in the quality of things or their experience. Like their senses are so dulled that they just don't care about drinking out of plastic bottles or having plastic dishes and tableware, being surrounded by plastic on all sides. Like they just don't care. And so they're choosing to consume these things. So that's the only way it can work. Like if in theory, like capitalism should be able to solve the problem because people would want to buy the products that are healthier for them. But it doesn't work that way. Like people don't know what's good for them, or they don't care what's good for them. And so it seems to me like it's something that you kind of have to force upon people if you want them to be healthy and have a good experience. That being said, I don't think English necessarily needs to be forced on anybody, but I think there should be a standard language. And it doesn't even have to be a Germanic language. I mean, dude, I don't even hate Romance languages. Like, I think they're cool. I just think the mixing of the two is weird. Like, mixing Romance and Germanic languages to me is kind of weird. And, like, we should just pick one or the other. Like, if we want to make the official language Latin, let's make it Latin. And I'll learn Latin and say everything in Latin. Or make it Anglese. And we have modern English, but only the Romance words. Like, I just think it should be coherent and all the words should match. And for me, that's English. Like, English is my mother tongue, and I appreciate that one the most. So that's the one I like the most. But it doesn't even have to be that. I just think languages should be more coherent and consistent, and have matching words and have similar patterns between the words, the same word endings and prefixes and suffixes, like they should match and stuff. Anyway, yeah, none of this stuff is like physically impossible that I'm talking about. It's in my opinion, it's where there's a will, there's a way. And the problem is that there's just not a will. Like, if people are on the same page about something, then things could be completely different. The majority of our economy is made up by, 90% of the economy is made up by a handful of corporations, like all the big ones. I don't know which ones they are, but there's like that chart floating around where it shows like, oh, well, all these different brands are actually owned by the same brand conglomerate company. And that's the majority of our economy. But outside of the necessities that you need for survival today that you have to buy from these companies, there's nothing stopping you from making purchases from other like-minded people, like people that make higher quality products. And yeah, it might cost more, but just consume less. Like, other than getting your daily calories that you need, if you're buying a thing, why not buy a thing that lasts longer, that's made better, and is not made by these companies that make all the crap? Like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if a company puts out a good product, if they also put out a crap product that's bad. Like, if you see plastic as a poison to your soul, not just your physical body, and you don't want to touch it, if a company makes a plastic product and then also a metal product, just don't buy from them. Like, go to the company that only makes good stuff and buy from them. And if they start introducing a bad thing, stop buying from them. It seems like this should be possible to live in a better world. So anyway, I guess I'm a bit of a utopian, but and a little bit autistic. But I think that's the case with a lot of people in the English community. Like, you're probably not attracted to the idea of linguistic purism unless you're a little bit autistic and at least a little bit utopian. So that's the way I am, and I figure there's other like-minded people that see it the same way. And yeah, if there are any other like-minded people who make things or produce goods of any kind, like, just tell me. Like, say, hey, I make widgets and I make thingamabobs and I make them out of not plastic, or or I make food. If you make canned vegetables or jams and preserves, like, just say something. Like, tell me, and I'll only buy your preserves from now on. I'll buy your beef jerky. So, yeah, I am a hypocrite, and I do consume from all of the big companies just like everybody else. But if I know there's an alternative, then I try to choose the alternative given a choice. And if everybody did that, then things wouldn't suck as much. Anyway, I told myself I'd try to talk for about an hour, and you listeners are probably getting tired of listening to this if you've made it this far. So, yeah, I guess I'll wrap it up here. If you liked this kind of film, just let me know by liking the video, subscribing, leave a comment if you have something to add or subtract. Just let me know your thoughts. Thanks for listening to me rant.